Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Visit Worldlit, a series where I share my review and my opinion for different video games that I have experienced. Today's video is about Tearaway Unfolded, the official remake plus more of the original Tearaway for the PS4. Tearaway Unfolded was released 2 years after its original Vita release on September 2015 for the PS4 console. Once again, it was developed from the same people, which is none other than Media Molecule, known for their works on Dreams, Little Big Planet, and Tearaway. And it was published by Sony since it's a PlayStation exclusive. If you saw my original Tearaway video or my Astro Playroom's review, I mentioned how this game left me wanting more and how fantastic the interactive gameplay was. By the end of my Tearaway video, I mentioned that I had the Tearaway Unfolded version as well, thus the gameplay in the background, and that I was eager to play more of it. So let's get into the PlayStation 4 version of it. Tearaway Unfolded is an extended remake. This means that similar to the Vita version, you control the character of Iota or Atoi, depending on which gender you'll make your messenger to be. The story is very simple. You'll have your messenger to go through different stages in order to reach you. The game refers you, the player, as a godly being who created a hole in the sky. Your messenger must find the route to come all the way to you. You can also help NPCs with some mini side quests. It being a platformer, it means you can die by one of two ways. First one being the platforming. This means falling off the map where there is no land to drop on, or areas where the ground is too dangerous for you to stand on. The second one is being struck down 3 times by enemy mobs. As I mentioned, this game is mainly a remake, so most of the places and solutions to most of the puzzles are exactly the same. All of the maps are expanded due to the PlayStation 4 being a much more powerful console than the PS Vita was. However, there are 2 new areas that utilize the 2 new features added to the game. As you can understand, the main difference between Tearaway and Unfolded is the gameplay, so let's start with it. To start things first, you can play the game with or without owning a PlayStation camera. You can instead use the PlayStation application. However, if you don't have space on your phone or generally not interested in the camera aspect of the gameplay, which is simply for making the U appear in the sun or insert color patterns in the game, you can just boot the game and select the I don't have a PlayStation camera option. The touchpad of the PS4 controller can be used very similar to the touchscreen of the Vita. You can use it to design customizable items by crafting on a paper on the touchpad. However, in the case of you not being able to use the small touchpad, you can always use the PlayStation application on the phone or even tablets whose screen is much bigger than the phone's. The main new mechanic for the PS4 Tearaway is the fact that by swifting on the touchpad, you can control the wind. This is basically the way they found to replace the touchscreen on the map. To elaborate on the Vita, there were parts where you used the touchscreen to move objects in order for Iota to move onto them. In Unfolded, these objects are controlled from the winds. It will unfold the paper to create a bridge for Iota to move. By pressing the touchpad, the game will act very similar to how the Vita's touchpad used to work. In other words, Iota must stand in the areas that look like drums in order for him to be launched in even higher grounds. The R2 button will make the DualShock's light to appear in the map. You can use the light mainly to interact with Iota, the world, and in scramble fights. Before I elaborate, I should mention, always make sure that the light is always straight up to the game, cause if the light in the world is sideways, it can easily create confusions. To further elaborate, when you relocate the controller, make sure it stays that way. The light is mainly used to light Iota's way and protect the world. Since the world is made of paper, the scrambles leave newspapers that cover the world. By having your light on the newspaper, the world will be cleaned by the enemy's infection. To fight scrambles, you can no longer jump onto them nor use a weapon. Unfortunately, the main way to fight them is to use your light onto them. They will be hypnotized and try to chase it. So, in order to take advantage of that, you mainly use your light to guide them into traps or off the map. In order to solve some puzzles, Iota will be required to throw items to you in order to solve it. In the original Tearaway, Iota grabbed items and threw them to specific areas to open them up further. In Unfolded, however, he barely does that as most of the areas are far away from Iota's reach. For that, you should turn Iota to look at you, then turn the controller's light up onto your face, and this will result to a square surface to appear on the screen. This means that when Iota throws the item's target is you. When Iota throws it, the item will come on the screen and then your controller will vibrate since the item is now in your controller. You can then aim using the motion sensors and swipe up to throw the item from your controller. Last but not least, areas that use Vita's moving sensors are once again back, but instead of the Vita's moving sensors, you can use the DualShocks. Again, always make sure that your controller is straight up with the game and not slightly off, because the moving sensors won't be treating you very good. Other than the usage of the wind to solve puzzles, the other main implementation in Unfolded is the introduction of the paper plane. Your character is now capable of flying in specific maps. The main noticeable change is in the harbor, where you are now capable of flying to the islands nearby the sea, and in the desert, where you can fly towards the sun. The paper plane is mainly controlled with the moving sensors of the controller. Personally, I like the new areas and mechanics. However, I don't think that it captured the magic of the original. The identity of the world that made Tearaway unique looks better on the PS4, and the melodies are all back, giving the universe even more beauty. It was a nice effort that is worth commenting on. I'm not disappointed nonetheless, but I wasn't as amazed as I was on Vita. Is it worth your time? Yes. If you didn't play the Vita version, then the game will sure surprise you. There are two last things I want to add before ending the video. The first one is how much I was annoyed by the ending story. The ending is the same, don't get me wrong, but unfortunately they went out of their way to add a voice actor for Iota, which I didn't like. I might be alone to this one, but I much more prefer the Vita's ending without the voice acting rather than the PS4. The second thing is the chills I got near the ending. My favorite stage on the Vita was with another traveler, and it was relatively sooner than the PS4's version. Originally, I thought it was skipped. However, while I was convinced that I was flying to the end, my controller started to sing the song the traveler used to sing, and I was shocked. A very, very welcoming surprise. Overall, Unfolded is a nice game, and it's something you should honestly look for. It won't leave you disappointed. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe if you want similar videos like this. If you're interested for my Tearaway review, click the video, or if you want more reviews, check on the playlist. Tell me in the comments below what are your thoughts on both Tearaway. Take care, and I'll see you all in the next one. See ya!